Good evening, I'm your host Camelia and you're watching KiniNews. Lim Kit Siang has questioned the lack of progress in the MACC's investigation into the littoral combat ship scandal. He now wants the PSC to summon and question the anti-graft agency chief on the matter.
DAP veteran Lim Kit Siang has urged the Parliamentary Select Committee on agencies under the Prime Minister's department to question the MACC on delays in the littoral combat ship probe. He said, this was necessary due to the lack of progress in the MACC's investigation into the LCS procurement. He pointed out that the MACC had the benefit of 2 reports on the 9 billion ringgit project and said that they contained countless possible charges on corruption, abuse of power, breach of trust, malpractices, and cheating. However, he said the anti-graft agency had failed to take action against anyone for the scandal. Lim said the PSC should question the MACC on why it had not acted earlier on the project, given its massive costs and the fact that the project dated back to the time that Najib Abdul Razak was Defence Minister. He added that they should specifically ask MACC Chief Azam Baki on whether the agency had questioned Najib over the scandal. Lim said this in response to Azam's statement that the MACC needs more time for its investigation into the LCS project. Azam had reportedly said at a press conference that the anti-graft agency needed some time to summon more witnesses, including a few who were overseas.
Najib Abdul Razak has decided to withdraw his wrongful prosecution suit against the government. However, his suit against ex-AG Tommy Thomas still remains.
Former Premier Najib Abdul Razak has withdrawn his wrongful prosecution suit against the government. This leaves former Attorney General Tommy Thomas as the sole defendant in the suit over his alleged wrongful prosecution for several criminal cases. According to a copy of the notice of discontinuance filed yesterday by his lawyers, Najib has withdrawn the lawsuit against the government without costs. No reasons were given in the notice of discontinuance. Najib's legal team had filed a lawsuit against Thomas and the government on October 22 last year. He stated that Thomas had committed misfeasance in public office, malicious process, and negligence. Najib stated that Thomas's alleged acts were in relation to criminal charges leveled against him in relation to the 1MDB case, the International Petroleum Investment Company case, and 2 cases of alleged abuse of power and money laundering under the MACC Act 2009. However, he said it did not involve charges in relation to SRC International Sendirian Berhad, a former 1MDB subsidiary that later became wholly owned by the Minister of Finance Incorporated. Najib also claimed, among other allegations, that the charges against him had long been planned by Thomas and the then Harapan government.
Inspector General of Police Akril Sani Abdullah Sani has reiterated the police's commitment to track down fugitive businessperson Joe Low.
Inspector General of Police Akril Sani Abdullah Sani said that efforts to track down fugitive businessperson Low Tek Joe, who is better known as Joe Low, is still ongoing. He also called on those with information on Joe Low's location to contact the Commercial Crime Investigation Department's hotline or the nearest police station. Akril said that all information received will be assessed for its veracity and channeled to Interpol to obtain further verification from the member countries concerned. The IGP added that the police had obtained an Interpol red notice against Low in 2018. According to him, Interpol's 195 member states have an obligation to pass on information on the whereabouts of wanted persons who have a red notice issued against them to facilitate an extradition process. However, he said no extradition request could be made against Low because no Interpol member was able to confirm his supposed whereabouts in their country. He reiterated that the police remain committed to ensuring that Low was arrested and brought to justice and had filed 13 charges in court against him in absentia involving 1MDB. His statement came after journalists Tom Wright and Bradley Hope highlighted supposed sightings of Low and his family abroad in 2018 and 2019.
Lim Guan Eng has called on Ismail Sabri to dissolve the Special Task Force on Jihad against Inflation. According to Lim, the task force is ineffective, incompetent, and irrelevant.
Lim Guan Eng has called on Prime Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob to dissolve the Special Task Force on Jihad against inflation. The former finance minister said this was as it had failed to curb rising prices. Lim described the task force, which is headed by Communications and Multimedia Minister Anwar Musa, as being ineffective, incompetent, and irrelevant. His remarks came after Bank Negara Malaysia decided to raise its overnight policy rate for the third time in a row this year to stem inflation. According to Lim, BNM has indirectly dismissed Anwar's anti-inflation efforts as having no effect. He said that their actions show that Anwar's claims that inflation and soaring food prices are slowly under control were baseless. He added that since BNM is now relying on the monetary tool of raising interest rate to fight inflation, there is no need or necessity to retain the task force. According to Lim, the task force would only have a role to play if it is chaired by the Prime Minister himself. Ismail Sabri had announced the formation of the task force on June 29. Their main task was to gather information from ministries, agencies, and the public to formulate strategies and coordinate actions to resolve issues relating to inflation.
PAS has addressed claims of a meeting between the party and AMNO regarding the 15th general election. According to PN Chief Muhyiddin Yassin, PAS clarified that talks between the two parties were only informal discussions.
Pakatan National Chairperson Muhyiddin Yassin said that there has been no official discussion between PAS and AMNO on facing the 15th general election. According to Muhyiddin, claims on talks between the two parties was just unofficial discussions and did not involve the party's top leadership. He added that there was no progress made from the discussion after AMNO made a stand not to cooperate with PAS in GE15. He said this was based on an explanation given by PAS at a recent PN Supreme Council meeting. Muhyiddin said PAS had reiterated their stand to strengthen cooperation with the parties in PN during the meeting. The Bersatu president added that the meeting also made a stand to focus on efforts to assist the people, especially the low-income group, in facing the effects of inflation.
DAP has cautioned a Pakatan Harapan ally that it was not pragmatic for the opposition coalition to adopt a modified common logo in the next general election.
DAP believes that it is not pragmatic for Pakatan Harapan to adopt a modified common logo for the next general election. DAP Secretary General Anthony Loke said this in response to a question about Harapan's plan to use a single modified logo for GE15. In an interview with Malaysia Kini and KiniTV yesterday, he said DAP looked at it from a practical point of view, and the current logo had already been adopted and been used in several by-elections and in the Malacca and Johor state elections.
I mean, for us is that the logo has been adopted and be used both in various by-election and in Malacca and also Johor state election. We have adopted that logo. So for us is that more importantly is that substance over form.
He said it was more important to highlight policies and direction to give confidence and to convince the public. Loke added that PKR was the one who had requested for some amendments to the design of the logo and they are still in the midst of discussions on the matter. He said they had to be practical as they are running short of time because the election can happen at any time. He added that changing a logo is a major decision and they would need to apply with the ROS and Election Commission.
GE15 could be called anytime soon, and Bersatu's Seberang Jaya assemblyperson has informed his party on the seat that he hopes to contest in.
Seberang Jaya assemblyperson Dr. Afif Bahardin hopes to be fielded in either Shah Alam or Permatang Pauh as a parliamentary candidate. According to Utusan Malaysia, Afif said he was born and bred in Shah Alam, Selangor, and has been politically active there despite having represented the Seberang Jaya constituency in Penang for 2 terms. He said this was why he signed up as a member of Bersatu's Shah Alam division when he first joined the party. He added that the Bersatu leadership has been informed of his wish to be allowed to defend the Seberang Jaya seat and to be fielded for either Shah Alam or Permatang Pauh. He said he had voted for the Shah Alam incumbent, Khalid Abdul Samad, but he does not have new ideas and should make way for someone new. In 2013, Afif became the first candidate to wrest the Seberang Jaya state seat from BN. The seat is part of the Permatangpau parliamentary constituency, which is the stronghold of PKR President Anwar Ibrahim's family.
And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest news updates. If you'd like to support independent media, do consider subscribing to MalaysiaKini.com. I'm Kinilia. Thanks for watching.